And we're talking to Iowa State Patrol Trooper Scott Miller, who's also the Public Information Officer for District 3. And we're on I-29, just to the west of Pacific Junction. And Trooper Miller, obviously we can see all the debris here. What are we seeing here as far as the water? And is Pacific Junction accessible at this point, or?
Right now, we have no access by the roadway to Pacific Junction. All the roads that are in or going into Pacific Junction are still underwater. As you look out across, you can see the town of Pacific Junction in the background there. And all this low-lying area here is just field that has filled with water when the water came over the levee and over the interstate, and it has no way to get back out. Now, I know Kiewit, which has a substation over here, and the railroad have some pumps set up on Old 34, which is about, probably about 5 miles south east of us where we are now, and they're trying to pump this area out to get the water to go down in PJ.
So no residents are allowed back in their homes there at Pacific Junction?
Nope, not yet. This is where we're standing, and where that area is over there that we're looking. That is in the mandatory evacuation area.
Talk about the I-29 now, and what is closed to traffic at this point?
Right, it's closed from Highway 34, where we just were, all the way south to Missouri. And some areas, the roadway is just fallen apart or caved in, where the shoulders completely disappeared under the water when the water eroded out the rock and the dirt from underneath it. So it is extremely dangerous in some of those areas where it looks like the roadway was beat up by like an earthquake, because it's just cracked and busted and bulging all over the place.
But even where the surface looks like it's clean, you're not allowing traffic as well, because you don't know what can happen, whether it'll cave in, or is that correct?
Well, right, there's a couple of reasons. You can look down south here to see all the debris that's still left on the roadway there that hasn't been cleaned off. So yeah, we're worried about, has the water eroded anything underneath? Is it dangerous to drive on? Two, some of the areas are caved in. And then the third reason is, if we're going to close the interstate, we have to have a viable detour, which right now is Highway 34. And as you know, south of here between 34 and Missouri, there just isn't a very good road that we could use for interstate traffic to actually detour the interstate off of.
How long until I-29 from 34 to the Iowa-Missouri border will open?
I have no idea. I know 2011, when the floods hit Council Bluffs and I-680 was broken up the same way. It took 34 days for the DOT and the construction to get that back going. So I assume that once they start construction on 34 and I-29, we're probably looking at some of those same delays, 30 to 45 days away when they start construction.
What's processed, and what inspection, and then what?
I think inspection, and then DOT then puts out bids to repair.
Trooper, when this thing first came, and it came in a hurry, what are the best words to describe this situation when the water was over the road?
Yeah, it was incredible how the water creeps up and then it hits the center, which is the highest point. And once it hit the center, then it just started flowing over. I was standing in PJ helping with the evacuation on Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. Sunday, and I left the town at 4 o'clock when the water just started to come over the levee close to where that train trestle is, a little bit north of there. And the water came over the levee. So I left at 4 o'clock, and most of the town was evacuated at that point. And when I came back out Monday morning, this whole thing was underwater.
So we're looking at debris. What else? What other message do we need to get out to the public involved in this, and maybe outside of this too?
Right. The amount of debris, as you can see, we just get a little taste of it here. The amount of debris that's just left behind is just really unbelievable. I would also say, and I know it's been a long time, and I know people want to get back in the area and they want to see their houses, but the reason that we're keeping them out is because, number one, the roads, like we've talked about, but two, also I'm sure those structures are dangerous and they're still underwater for the most part. So these are still dangerous areas. We are working extremely hard to get this area back open. We want to get those people back, or at least see their houses and start the repair process going as soon as possible.
So it's Pacific Junction. How about farther south into Fremont County? Are there some communities still that have not been able to?
Well, I don't know about all them. I think that Thurman stayed dry for the most part. A lot of Bartlett that I've seen is still underwater, or some portions of it are still underwater. So those Hamburg is still obviously underwater. So there's still some communities that are still trying to get back inside, just like Pacific Junction.
Thank you very much, Trooper Scott Miller from the Iowa State Patrol, Public Information Officer for District Number 3.